Hey you guys, it's Miss Larks. I hope that you guys are all doing well and taking care of yourself. Today I'm going to go over a little bit about Pythagorean Theorem. Please make sure you've already taken your diagnostic because I'm going to go through 4 of the questions that were on it. Obviously you can do it, and can't really tell, but I'm hoping that you guys can be honest and so that you can actually get the help and support that you need at home. Also, just so you know, me and Mr. Pooja are on our emails all day and available to support you that way as well. So make sure you're reaching out and asking questions if needed. Today I want to go over again Pythagorean Theorem. Some of the basics that you hopefully already watched some of the videos in Summit on are you're always dealing with triangles, okay? In Pythagorean Theorem, you're actually going to deal with a right triangle, meaning one of the sides, 2 of them come to a 90-degree angle, making it a right triangle because you have a right angle. Your 2 shorter sides are A and B, and then your longer side, which is right here, is C, which is also called your hypotenuse. So A and B are called your legs, not really sure why, and then C is your hypotenuse, which is your longest side. And then your formula that you're going to always use is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay? That's really important to remember, so make sure you're writing it down as often as you can so you can get to memorizing it. Again, with the Summit resources, your introductory resources basically go over what I just said in a little bit more detail. The objective 1 goes through square roots and cubic roots, and then objective 2 goes through the coordinate grid and finding the missing side lengths. So we're going to go over a few examples for each of those things. That will also be on your power focus area and your content assessment if you're choosing to retake that. So, first 2 problems that we're going to go over are squared and square roots. Many of you are already understanding this concept, so I'll go kind of quickly through it. X squared is equal to 49. We're trying to just get x by itself. That means I have to get rid of this annoying little square right here. In order to do that, I'm going to do the opposite or the inverse operation of squaring something. The opposite of squaring something is the square root. Okay, I know you guys have at least seen this, so I'm going to show you exactly how that works. So the square root of x squared is just x because, again, it's the opposite, so it's removing the square from it. But as we know, if we do something to one side, we also have to do it to the other. So I'm going to find the square root of 49. Well, I know that 7 times 7 gives me 49. So 7 squared is equal to 49, meaning the square root of 49 is 7. And then you're going to do the same thing for the cubic root, except instead of finding the square root, you're going to find the cubic root. So you're going to indicate that by writing a little 3 outside of your root sign. And then again, if you do it to one side, you're doing it to the other, so you're finding the cubic root of negative 13 as well. Okay, so the cubic root of x cubed is just x, just like we did over here with the x squared. It's the same concept. Now, this one's a little bit different because negative 13 is not a perfect square, meaning a number cannot perfectly go into it without having a decimal. Just like over here for 49, it was a perfect square because 7 times 7 is a whole number and it goes into 49 perfectly. Whereas 13 is actually a prime number, so that doesn't have the same luxury with that. So you can leave your solution as the cubic root of negative 13. That could also look like negative cubic root of 13 as well. Either way you write it, it means the same thing. Just make sure you keep that negative in there because it needs to be there, because a negative times a negative times a negative equals a negative. Alright? Okay, this next problem. I'm going to give you guys a second. Make sure you are pausing it. I'll zoom in too. You're looking at the distance between the points. So you're going to go ahead and sketch a quick graph. and put these 2 points on, and then play it once you are ready to go. I want us to think about this. We could connect these lines, and now I have a triangle. And right here you would have your right angle as well because it's a perfect 90 degrees. Okay? So that would give me the go-ahead to use Pythagorean Theorem. So how we're going to do that on a coordinate plane or a graph is I'm going to actually count up the sides on each of the red side lengths, and then I'm going to find your missing length of C. So this will give you A and B, and then I'm going to try and solve for C. So again, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So B is equal to 6. And then A, I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So A is equal to 10. And C is a big old question mark. So I'm going to take my original equation, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And now I'm just going to substitute in the numbers that I have. So I know that A is 10, so I have 10 squared plus B, which is now 6 squared. And then I still don't have C, so I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, my next step is now to start solving it. So 10 squared, or 10 times 10, is equal to 100. And then 6 squared, or 6 times 6, is equal to 36. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So 100 plus 36 gives me 136. And then I have C squared over here. Okay, now that we have that, we just have to get C by itself, which is just one more last step. So we have to get rid of our square. By doing that, as we learned in the last slide, we're doing the opposite or the inverse operation, which is finding the square root. And we're going to do it to both sides so we can balance our equation. So the square root of C squared is C, and the square root of 136, you're actually going to use your calculators to do this. It's pretty easy to do on your cell phone. If you just flip it onto the landscape or the longer side, it should give you more options on the calculator, and one of those should be the square root button. And you should see that it's 11.7 because, again, we're rounding to the nearest tenth as directed to in our problem. And then that's your answer. So C is equal to 11.7, and that's the distance from these 2 points that it gave us originally. Okay, last problem that we're going to do. Again, go ahead and pause the video to write this down if you need a second. We are going to just start by looking at the information that it already gave us. Okay, so it says BC, so the side length of BC is 61. The side length of AB is 82. And now we're trying to find the length of AC, so that's what we're trying to find. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and label my different sides. A and B are interchangeable sides because you're adding, so it doesn't really matter if you choose to flip-flop those two. But as long as you have C as your hypotenuse or your longest side. Alright. I am going to now write down the equation so we don't forget it, because that would not be good. Okay, now that I have my formula written down, I'm just going to substitute for the information I have. So A I have is equal to 61, so I have 61 squared. B, we do not have that side length yet. And then C we have is 82 squared. Okay, again, just substitute the information that you have. Now we're going to go through and we're going to actually solve the problem. So 61 squared, again, Go ahead and use your calculators for this, or try and do it by hand, whichever way is better for you. So 61 times 61 is 3,721 plus b squared equals, and then 82 times 82 is 6,724. Now all we're going to be doing is solving and trying to get b by itself. So in order to do that, I have to get rid of a few pieces of information. I have to get rid of the 3,721, and I have to get rid of the square. Okay, so we're going to start with the 3,000. How do I get rid of a positive 3,721? Well, you should all know that you're going to have to subtract 3,271. I'm going to do that from both sides. So that cancels out. Now I have b squared left over here. And then 6,724 minus 3,721 is 3,003. And then to get rid of your square, I'm going to find the square root and do that to both sides to balance my equation. The square root of b squared is b, and the square root of 3,003, again, use your calculators, is 54.8. And then that's your missing side length of AC. Okay, those are all the practice problems that we're going to do. Again, these were from the diagnostic test, so you guys should have already taken. Now that you have gone through this and taken notes, you can go ahead and request to take your PFA, and me or Mr. Puja will approve it for you. If you're still not feeling confident in doing it, please email us so we can either come up with some more questions for you to do or give you a few different resources to kind of look through on Summit. But I hope you all have a good day, and I hope that this helped you a little bit. See ya.